wonderful. What do we got in our hoodie today? We got it's a dog with a Colorado hoodie.
Bought this bad boy in, I don't even remember the town. One of those. It wasn't Vail, but it was Colorado.
Well, we got a guy who's wearing a hoodie.
Yes.
A dog wearing a hoodie. Mr. Tim Long.
He's got this dog's got sunglasses and a little neckerchief kind of thing, like a bandana.
Oh, it's a bandana. Okay,
yeah.
Not a hoodie. I was mistaken.
Yeah, so,
he looks great.
Yeah, he does.
You look great too, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. Yeah,
we're living.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was gonna like. Oh, I bought a new garbage can right before we came here.
That's
very excited
exciting.
about this. Was
a sit from the city.
No. So this is an indoor, like for in the house.
Oh,
our last garbage can was our garbage can indoors. It was one of those things where it was disgusting. And it was broken, like it wouldn't lift. But it's one of those things, like when you're like, it always slips my mind when I'm out. I'm like,
yes.
It's one of those things where I go, oh, we need a new garbage can, and I'll just say it out loud in the house, and then I never got around to like when I'm around garbage cans, like in the store. I never think like, oh, we should grab a new garbage.
I keep doing that with I did today. We were at Walmart for something, and so we should look at rugs because like I need a new rug for that family room. And every once in a while I go to the family room and I'm like, damn, we need a rug back here. Like we threw out the rug we had. It was just getting nasty.
Yeah.
I tried power washing it outside and I was just making it stink. And I was like, all right, this ain't gonna work. And I need a new rug for down here too. This one got wet at some point when we had water in the basement.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but I just keep not buying rugs.
so finally, we were in Costco, and I'm feeling it because I had a pizza and a double chunk chocolate cookie.
Oh yeah, you did.
While I was walking around.
Good for you.
And we pulled the trigger out of this is exciting. It's got a regular garbage, and then right next it's got a 2-in-1. So we got rid of the recycling piece of shit thing we had. They're out by the road. I'm really excited about. This is a great purchase.
Are you gonna stare at the window as they get taken?
I usually do because my son likes to watch the garbage trucks in the morning. Yeah. So usually I'll stare out there with him. And
classic kid thing.
Yeah.
Garbage trucks. Yeah.
So yes, I will be staring. Yes. I will not have like a tear or anything though either.
No, but you'll feel something, I'm sure.
Right.
Excellent, man. Well, I'm glad to hear that. No, things are good. My hot water heater might be going bad, though. That's not good.
That is not good.
I'm not excited about that.
No.
It's been an expensive month.
Yeah.
Or two.
Mm-hmm.
Josie's birthday is coming up. Got the birthday party planning going on there.
Why do you think it's going bad? Is it like making like a noise? Like
so
is the hot water heater the one that like will rattle when it's going bad, or is that?
It might. This one is not doing
okay.
that. Here's what I will tell you. I was drawing a bath for my kid.
Yeah.
And, I started the bathtub up. Water temperature felt fine. I left the room for a little bit and went back to go check on it. I put my hand in the water. I was like, oh, that's weirdly cold for running mostly hot water.
Yeah.
And then I tested my bathroom sink. And I went, this hot water's not getting hot. Uh-oh. Huh. I came downstairs, and the pilot light, there's a little flame, right, that lights up, but it's supposed to ignite essentially a plate that burns and heats up the water.
Right.
That plate wasn't burning. So I don't know what's going on. It's not good.
I'm not an expert in this, but...
No. And I have a friend who's very handy. He's like, oh, well, you can take this off and do that. I'm not doing that. No, it's not because I think I could probably figure it. I mean, I'm much handier now than I was.
Yeah.
If I can help friends out with things now, which makes me feel very proud.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to take apart an appliance. I'm just not doing
Understood,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm not.
This sounds like something. This sounds like my wife would take apart the appliance. And
then
I go, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
See, that's the thing, right?
See,
well, and this is an appliance, right, that has like 8 gas lines attached to it.
Yeah.
Water lines attached to it.
Yeah.
And electrical attached to it. Mm-hmm. It's got all 3 of the dangerous shit. So I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. So anyway, I'm sure there's people out there laughing at me that are way handier than me. Hey, look, if you're laughing at me, shoot us an email. Let me know what I'm doing. Or just come over to my house.
For some reason,
help me out.
A few years ago, I put gutters on the hot side of the house. I did the gutters.
You had no gutters?
We replaced them because they were falling apart. So the gutters were falling apart.
Okay.
So the gutters were falling apart, and then I put new ones up. And
how was that?
The worst.
Terrible.
First of all, it sucked. The equipment, and also my house is not fun to do any sort of work on.
Okay.
So and then like halfway through like the next spring, when it starts to get really shitty around here, and like stuff starts leaking, like stuff was just leaking at like there's holes in between like where the gutter, there's gaps and stuff. It's just like, Amy, I'm calling someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. Like, I gave it my best shot.
You
and
tried.
When it came out, and honestly, because our house is such a, it's just so wacky anyway. Like, they're still not great. We had them professionally done, but like they're much better than what I was doing.
Well, you know what the thing is, man. You like tried, right? You took initiative.
I did,
and
I also learned. It was a learning experience.
you get an idea of what's within your wheelhouse and what's not, right? Anything can be within your wheelhouse, technically, but do you have the mental dexterity to bother with it? That's where I get. So like, yeah. So I do a lot. Like, I mean, our hot water. In our shower, I couldn't shut it off.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't shut off all the way. Fix that.
Yeah.
Not an easy fix. I can handle that, right?
Yeah.
So if you ever have that issue, let me know. I got you. That's easy. But like, I'm not tearing apart a water heater. I'm just not doing it. Anyway, yeah. So like I said, you can email us. Email us all your home improvements.
I was going to say, if you have any
insights,
insights. We will
gutters or hot
take
water
any
heaters,
sort of feedback when it comes to
or
that,
or anything like that. Email us homereviewbook@gmail.com. We did get a piece of feedback, however, from a friend of the show and a collaborator on the show. One of the few people who's joined us on the show.
Our Zack Snyder expert.
Absolutely, the Snyder file himself, Mr. John Street.
I was thinking like, we haven't heard from John in a little bit. I'm happy he sent us an email or sent us some
feedback.
Yes.
He messaged me.
Yeah.
And he wanted to make sure we were both aware. I think mostly you, probably because you are the fan.
I don't know if the Doctor Odyssey fan base has a name yet, but
okay,
we will. I'm sure they do, but I.
Oh man, Doctor Odyssey. What would his fan base be called? The Homers. Odyssey, right?
I was trying to get there, but you got there much quicker than me, so thank you. So what did John have to say? He wanted to let me know.
There's a 2-part Doctor Odyssey Shark Attack special.
Here's what's...
That will be arriving to television, I believe, on March 4th. Or no, not 4th, but March 6th, I think it is.
I appreciate this, John.
Mm-hmm.
I do. But here's the thing, is... I had seen this, I believe, during, I can't remember, I think it was the Wings game. They were on ABC the other day, or ESPN. And they're always showing ABC commercials for ABC shows, obviously. Sure. So the Shark Attack one was running constantly. And then that prompted me. So Doctor Odyssey is not a show I keep up with weekly. It's one of those, for me, it's one of those like build up a couple on the DVR or whatever. And
so it's a semi-binge show. You don't watch the whole season. You watch like 3 at a time.
A couple will build up and I'll go, oh, you know what? I should knock one of those out. And it's never like, I'm never like locked in. It's always like, I'm going to throw that out while I'm doing laundry
sure.
And today I was, I had some kind of like mindless work to do. So I'm like, all right, let's throw on Doctor Odyssey, and then I'll keep it on in the background. Oh boy! So because I knew the Shark Attack episode was coming up, and I'm like, oh, I should get caught up so I can knock this 2-parter out in like April or whatever I get around to watching it. So thank you, John. But I had forgotten. So the last time our listeners have left off, like with me talking about Doctor Odyssey, I talked about how I believe it was the first male female threesome in broadcast television history. And then
ground,
it looked like it may turn into sort of a throuple. And I would bet there's probably been a throuple on broadcast television before. I don't know if there's ever been a threesome like that on broadcast television before. Anyway.
Not sure. I don't know.
So I knock out this last episode before the Shark Attack that had aired a couple months back. And I'm kind of like zoned out. It's about rubber duck enthusiasts. This is Ryan Murphy's show, by the way, so that explains a lot of it. But anyway, it turns out the woman in the threesome is probably pregnant.
Uh-oh.
And Dr. Odyssey, from what I could tell, is like, no, there's no way it's me. So I'm guessing Dr. Odyssey took the place that you can't get pregnant. Like if you are like you can't get someone in the devil's, he went for those areas. If I'm trying to put it gently.
Oh my. Okay.
And hopefully he did too. So anyway,
oh my. Okay.
So
this is network television.
So it seems like Dr. Odyssey, like it can't, like we need to like check this out. But on top of it, it seems like not only is there going to be a shark attack on this episode, Dr. Odyssey's got to deal with the fact that he may have because he seemed a little tipsy too. I don't know if Doctor Odyssey knew exactly
where he was at.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what though? This is a show all about like medical, right? Maybe like there's some sort of like twist where it's like there's some sort of like I don't know. There's something biologically going on with her where
it could be
it can happen through other areas. Somehow.
Well, I have thrown out the theory that this all takes place in like heaven or purgatory. Like it's like the entrance into heaven is this, or it's like the cruise where you kind of
they're going to heaven. I don't know. Depends on how you feel about it.
I was going to say, it seems like heaven for those three. But,
they seem happy.
But on top of it, too, Dr. Odyssey looks like he's fallen ill, like he's passed out. So, like, there's a shark attack, a maybe pregnancy, and Dr. Odyssey is, like...
Not well.
He's, like, falling. Like,
Who
he's
plays
passing
Dr. Odyssey again?
Joshua Jackson.
That's right. It's fucking perfect.
So, anyway, yes, John,
I mean,
thank you. I am so looking forward to this for many reasons.
Yeah. I think I need to... What is this on again?
So, it's on ABC, so it would probably be on, if you're looking streaming, Hulu.
I need to make sure. I'm sure I've told Nikki about this show.
Yeah.
But I need to remind her.
Yeah.
That when she finishes, I think she's watching Arrow right now.
Okay.
From the start.
Okay. That is an undertaking. Has she seen the rest of the DC, or she just want to watch Arrow?
I think she's just doing Arrow. It'd be tough to dip around into the...
Amy and I made it through like 4 seasons of Arrow on a watch, yeah.
By the end of it, there's a lot of crossover stuff.
That's the thing. And I actually, the one I want to watch is the Legends of Tomorrow one.
I've heard it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Dr. Odyssey. Wonderful. Thank you, John.
So this is, this is a perfect show for you if you convince her to watch it, to kind of like wander in from the background and cause like
stare at things for a
while. Just
while.
Be like, hey, what's going on here?
Fill me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Don Johnson plays the captain. He's great. And he's no judgment. He's like no judgment when it comes to the throuple situation. He's like, I don't know judgment here, doctor.
He's been there.
But it should be like, hey, like she's technically, I think you're subordinate, like you're her superior. Like maybe you should
crack down a little bit.
Not be doing these things.
I mean, look, you know,
be careful. Yeah.
Don's seen it all. Right.
Don has been around.
Don's been around
since the 80s, right?
He knows what's up. Anywho, we are here tonight. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just want
to
Game Nerds. Check out the Game Nerds.
Yes, of course.
They just released an episode on Avowed and John's hibachi hot take. So the food dudes are back with hibachi. So.
Hibachi. You like hibachi? I like hibachi.
We went to a hibachi, you and I, with
yeah, I did drive, and the guy was like spraying alcohol in my mouth, and I was like, I have to go home tonight.
Yeah, the sake. He's sprayed
a lot
the sake
though. Like that guy was on fire that night. I mean, literally and figuratively. It was a lot. Yeah, it was great though. It was delicious. Anyway, yeah. So we are here tonight to talk about Daybreakers.
Yes,
this is the first time I almost called it Daywalkers, which I've been doing in my head for the last 2 weeks. Daybreakers. This is from what year is this? This was 2000.
So some have it listed as 2009. The wider release is 2010, January 8th, I believe, 2010. Right. So that's what we're going with.
And this, of course, stars Ethan Hawke.
Yep.
Sam Neill, Willem Dafoe.
Oh, does it? Yeah.
Quite a cast.
It is
especially for a lower budget genre film.
Yeah.
This one I do
from two. At this point,
the Spierig Bros, right?
The Spierig Brothers, who had done a movie called Undead, even lower budget.
It had some buzz, though. It had some buzz. It kind of broke through a little bit, not to the degree that like a 28 Days Later did, or The Descent did, but it kind of broke through a little bit into the mainstream. People were like, "Oh, Undead! You got to see Undead."
Yeah, we'll talk. I want to talk a little bit about the Spierig Brothers later as we get into this, because I'm kind of curious what happened there. So
sure.
Because I don't know. I try to look at, but I'm just going off there from my... Anyway, yes. So 2010.
Excellent. Yeah. So, well, okay. I've seen this movie before.
You want to get in the time machine real quick, though?
Oh, yeah, we should.
Yeah.
What did I'm missing the time machine. Man, I'm all over the place.
It's all right.
Just thinking about Doctor Odyssey and my hot water heater. Right
well,
now.
I mean...
Why do I say hot? Is it hot water heater or just water heater? Wouldn't be hot water heater. It heats the water to make
I've always called it a hot water heater.
Right. Why do we call it that, though? Is it a Michigan thing?
Maybe, but
weird.
I mean, you're right, because it is technically, it's not heating hot water. I guess it kind of is.
It's creating hot. Chime in. Horror movie.
It does seem redundant. Yes, it does seem
strange. Anyway, okay.
Well,
yes,
if you're talking about
machine.
hot water, maybe you're talking about the Odyssey, the cruise ship that's on the
They're in
water.
hot water next week.
Yeah,
this
it
week.
sounds like
Yeah, in hot water for sure. All right, give me a time machine sound, Tim.
I don't know what that was.
Holy smokes. That was one of the best. Thank you. We are back.
2010.
We are 2010. I am. How old am I? I can't remember. I'm like.
We're mid-20s, right? We're both mid-20s.
Like 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just gonna be 26.
Almost.
Probably almost. Yeah. I'm working at Family Video. You, I think, are working at Family Video at this point, or close to it.
I think this is right before I moved here.
Yeah. Okay. So you're gonna be soon.
Yes, we will enter each other's lives very soon.
Yes.
And I believe at some point we will discuss Daybreakers in our friendship, probably around this time, because I was a champion of this movie around this time.
You were, yes. Not that I didn't like it, but you were definitely a champion of it, and we'll see how I feel about that coming up.
Do you want to see what we're listening to in the time machine, though?
Yeah. No, what I was gonna say is,
sorry.
I was broke at the time.
I believe we both were. Yes.
I was tired a lot at the time.
Would you say you are much? How would you say you? How tired were you compared to now? No,
I don't know. I think you know what? I'm still broke, but I'm not like that level of broke, which is nice.
Right.
I can live, which is good. But I'm more tired. So there's been a balance shift. A little bit of balance shift.
Do you ever think about how crazy it was in like your? For me, it was my 20s. Like how little I would spend. Like how I got through life spending so little, like because I would, like I think about some of my college days. I'm like, I think I spent like $20 that week at a doodle, and I would go to the bar.
The only way I survived was basically like, I would take out my student loans, and you get a little extra from it, for textbooks and stuff. And I would use that on like living. Mm-hmm. Mm. It was like an extra like $3,000.
I was gonna say I'm talking about like spending money, not like.
Yeah,
outside of rent.
I didn't spend a lot. Well, did I? I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I accumulated stuff, I guess. Not all this stuff by any means, but like, I don't know. I did something, right? I went into some debt in my 20s.
Did you? Yeah.
So that was a crawling out of that was a little rough, but
yeah.
We make it through. No, it's good, man. Like I was just saying to Nikki, also fellow collaborator on our show. I was saying to Nikki tonight, I said, you know what? The water heater or hot water heater, depending on how you want to describe it, might be going bad.
Yeah.
But at least I'm living at a point in my life, and this is just trying to like look at the silver lining, if you will. At least I'm living at a point in my life right now where I'm not like literally panicking about how I'm like we'll take care. It sucks. I don't want to have to pay for it.
Right.
It's gonna hurt a little bit, but like I'm not gonna have to decide if I'm eating ramen this week. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's nice. That's a good feeling.
Well, you'd be doing the same process because you'd have to heat the water for your showers and baths on the stove, like with the ramen. You could, but you know what? You could knock them both out at the same time.
Yeah, just don't use the ramen water.
No.
You ever spilled ramen on something, like on a drip some on your clothing or anything?
It stinks.
It smells like cat urine.
Yeah, it stinks. Like ramen smells really bad.
Like it tastes delicious. But if it gets into like a fabric, dude, best of luck. Anyway, all right. What are we listening to? We're going to the bar. Hey, we're going to the bar after our shift to the video store. What are we listening to?
So this would be the first week of January 2010.
Okay.
Which is when this would have hit wider release. This movie is kind of dumped. I think I can kind of see why watching it. Anyway, number 10, 3 by Britney Spears. I have no idea what that is.
This is late era Britney, I think.
Yeah, this would have been around the time of the kind of meltdown she had with the umbrella, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Number 9, Meet Me Halfway by the Black Eyed Peas. Did you know there was a pre-Fergie version of the Black Eyed Peas?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know. I think I maybe knew that, but I just...
She's out again, I think, right?
Are they still together?
I think they are, but she is not.
She's not. Okay.
Yeah.
Is she still married to Josh?
I don't know.
Duhamel? Okay.
It's going to be very hard for them to perform all their songs, though, at this point, live without...
Well, at least they won't have somebody
Fergie
peeing themselves on stage.
Yeah, she peed her pants, right?
She peed her pants, yeah. It was very...
You know what? You gotta go.
I think it probably happens more times, but it was very obvious.
She wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. You gotta wear like black pants. That's why a lot of rockers wear like dark
Yeah,
leather
you
pants.
gotta go.
Number 8, Down, Jay Sean featuring Lil Wayne.
I think I know this song.
I think I know this song too. I almost want to Google it.
Down.
Is that one? Yeah.
I think so.
Number 7, What You Say by Jason Derulo. So Jason Derulo, I think he used a sample of What You Say.
The Dido song?
Ooh, that you know we went.
Yeah. I like that song.
Yeah.
The sampling one is fine, but yeah.
So Jason Derulo, do you remember him? He always used to sing his name. Before
Did he?
would go, Jason Derulo. Like all his songs would start with him saying his name. I haven't heard a song of his in a while. Or I think he would whisper it sometime too. He'd go, Jason. Or no, he'd go, Derulo. Derulo.
I worked with a girl who was like obsessed with Jason Derulo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about the guy.
Yeah.
That's very fascinating though.
Can you think of any horror directors who you think would sound good? Like their name would sound good if like they sang it before, like in the opening credits, like John Carpenter.
No.
Wes Craven.
Wes Craven's all right. Wes Craven.
I like the whisper for Wes Craven. Wes.
That's good. Get the Wes.
You know who actually I'm looking at right now? George A. Romero.
Ooh, that has a nice like, bum, little staccato.
Yeah.
George A. Romero. That's nice. Yeah, I don't know. I like Wes. You could do some stuff with Wes. But like Toby Hooper. That doesn't exactly.
Toby Hooper. Toby Hooper doesn't work as a whisper either.
No.
I'm trying to think of modern ones. Robert Eggers.
Yeah, that's nice. Clive Barker. Clive Barker.
Jordan Peele.
Ooh, that's good. I like Jordan Peele. Yeah, the Peele. That's nice. Okay, that one works.
Oz Perkins.
Oz Perkins down on the farm. Like that's all I hear when you say Oz Perkins.
Radio Silence.
I had Bob Evans like this like not that long ago.
Yeah.
I got horrifically sick from it. So
what did you get?
I don't want to say because people will probably be like, well, duh. I got this burger.
Oh, okay.
From Bob Evans. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, that's...
Okay.
You're already like, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
All right. We got to get back. Number 6, Sexy Chick by David Guetta and Akon. Remember Akon? Was he the one?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Was he the one that threw the fan off the...
Launched. That was incredible stuff. I mean, really.
Number 5. I'm going to ask you one of my least favorite songs of the 2010s. Fireflies by Owl City. I can't even sing it right now. I just know I hate it.
I hate this song. And for a while there, I was like, this is like one of the, like, how did this band get signed?
Yeah.
But I kind of like the Wreck-It Ralph song.
Okay, did they sing a Wreck-It Ralph
song?
When
did I see you again?
Oh, that was
my
son.
It's kind of sweet.
I like to throw on music for my son that popped up.
I do too. Yeah, for Joe. Yeah, and I'm like, this is kind of nice.
Yeah, well,
but
I didn't know that
Firefly
was
song. You can fuck off. Yep.
Number 4, Replay by Iaz. I would probably know this if I heard it.
I don't know. I might.
Number 3, I know this one. Bad Romance by Lady Gaga.
Oh, that's a jam.
Yeah, Lady Gaga's got some. She's got some jams, especially around this time period.
You got a favorite? I feel like we've talked about this before, but do you have a favorite?
My favorite Gaga song. I'm gonna do.
Bad Romance is great. Poker Face is good.
I kind of.
Bloody Mary's good too.
Yeah, you're a Bloody Mary guy.
But my favorite is Alejandro.
Alejandro's good. Oh. Judah. Judas is pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
What is the one that kind of sound? Oh, you know what? I always kind of like Born This Way because it sounds a lot like the Madonna song. It was always a cool way. I always thought it was a cool way to remake that Madonna song because it sounds exactly the same,
it does
but do it in a different way.
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah.
Gaga's the closest to Madonna we've
like,
ever had, I think, since Madonna in terms of what she's accomplished. I think.
I'm on the edge of glory.
That's good too.
Yeah, I'm kind of a Gaga.
That's a ballad, bro.
I'm kind of a Gaga fan. The Top Gun ballad's pretty good. The Maverick, Top Gun Maverick.
Is it good?
It's good. Yeah, she sings it all the time. She sings it. She sang it at the Super Bowl. Remember? Did you watch the beginning of the Super Bowl?
No.
She sang it at the Oscars. She's always singing it. It's a ballad.
Nice. Well, before that, it was the.
Shallow.
That's a good song too.
That's a good song too.
Yeah, the movie.
I still haven't seen Joker.
She's good.
Folie à Deux. Number 2, Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys.
Yeah, sure. It's a good song. Yeah.
And the number 1 song, one of my favorites, is not gonna lie, that was one TikTok by Kesha. TikTok, don't this time. Someone cut. I remember around this time, someone cut together a bunch of Star Trek original series clips to this song, and it was
Why?
really just because it was a fun video.
Oh, okay,
There was just
cool.
like a fun mashup.
I was like, is there something I'm missing here? Okay.
There was always a lot of dancing and like weirdness in the original
okay,
series.
It just fit nice. Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it kind of fit nice
cool.
with it.
Yeah, Kesha. I don't know. No, I don't like the song, but that's fine. She was she's still around. She's still doing stuff.
Yeah, she
good for her. Good.
She just had a couple because I know she went through
Yeah, some stuff. Yeah, for sure.
So
good.
All right. What do you want to? All right, we're gonna talk about Daybreakers now. Let's get into our experience with it. Willie, take it away.
Take it away. All right. I saw Daybreakers like I think most people did. It was a video, really. Like I saw it on video.
Yep.
It was one of those ones. Once again, like we've mentioned it many times. Rented it as a free rental before it actually hit the shelf. And I remember watching it and thinking like, this is cool. It is interesting enough, but like I just didn't, for whatever reason, I wasn't super into it. I remember thinking like the universe is a cool concept.
Yeah.
But I never really, I was like, it was all right. But I do remember in the years following seeing kind of like some, I don't think there's like a cult fan base for it necessarily, but like seeing a fair amount of like praise for it, in the years post-release and going, okay, all right, maybe. But this is why I wanted to do this one because I haven't seen it since. Like literally, I've not watched it since it came out in probably 2010 or 2011, probably on DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah, probably around, it would have been later 2010 would be my guess.
Something like that. Yeah. So it's been a long time, and it's one of those ones like I'm enjoying revisiting things that I feel like deserve a revisit. Like maybe I can reassess them. I don't think everything needs a reassessment. I think we've gone overboard with that a little bit,
right?
In general, but I do think there's things like in our personal catalogs of stuff we've seen that we should, if there's an itch or an inkling that maybe we would appreciate it a little bit more now, give it a shot. Do it. Why not? Like, what do you have to lose? Like, the worst that can happen is you're proven right.
Yeah.
You're like, no, it sucks. You know what I mean? Like that's the worst that can happen. It is what it is. But I'm enjoying doing that lately, and I'm enjoying doing both that and trying to fill in blind spots. I don't know. That's been fun lately for me. Like trying to watch stuff that I missed. So yeah, that was my first experience. I thought it was fine, but by no means like by the time other than like the general idea, the concept of like vampires being in power and humans kind of being the minority and being essentially close to extinction, I didn't remember much about it. I remember like, Ethan Hawke is in that movie. That's about it, So going into this time, it was very much a reassessment watch. How am I going to feel about it this time around? Yeah. What about you?
All right. So my okay. I'm gonna go. This might be a little long-winded here.
Intense.
So
excited.
All right. So because I'm gonna talk about a couple of like not bigger picture things, but things that I miss. Like I don't. That were important to me around this time. So I was a big online reader, or like of like movie blogs were kind of bigger around this time.
For sure.
I think this was probably. I would say this is around the peak of sites like Chud and Ain't It Cool News and. This might have been post-peak of Ain't It Cool News, but I would say, what's the other one I'm thinking of?
But this is a point when like we were hitting the peak, though. I see what you're saying. This is hitting the peak of online like internet film journalism.
Yes.
And it to the point where
like nerd film, but
it reached the point where like mainstream people knew about these websites.
Yes.
And would use them for like opinions and stuff like that.
So I was on the forums a lot, and this was one.
Bleeding Cool.
Bleeding Cool is like comic based, right? Or like more towards Dark
remember.
Horizons. Do you remember Dark Horizons?
Yeah. That was one. Yeah.
I think that he's still around. It's Garth Franklin, I think is his name. Yep. Joe Blow. Joe Blow's still kicking, but
Joe Blow's still around. Yep.
Yep. So Slash Film, I remember being a little bit around that time, but then would come post a lot of that.
Slash Film started off a little more indie stuff too, didn't it? Am I wrong about that? It wasn't as mainstream in terms of like the coverage as it is now. Like now you look at Slash, and I'm not dissing them. I get it. Like you get more clicks I understand that.
Oh, it's like listicles now, right?
But it's
I don't even know.
I mean, it is like very low effort stuff. I mean, just for the most part.
I was gonna say, I think a couple of writers still. I don't know. It's actually been a while since. I don't even want to.
Yeah, I'm not even crapping on that.
It's just been a while since.
It's a very different website than it was when it first started, from my recollection of that. So.
What was the horror one for Chud? Creature Corner. Was it Creature Corner?
Yeah. So,
I like Creature Corner. Bloody Disgusting is still. I want to give them. They still crank out pretty good stuff. So a lot of the time.
Dread
too.
Central. Was,
I haven't been on Dread. Yeah, Dread Central though
was big around the time, if I remember right. Yep.
So I was on those a lot, and this was I specifically remember Chud being a champion of this movie early.
I always liked Chud. Anyway,
I was that's the one I would post on there a lot too. But on top of that, so this would have been, I believe, around the time, because I saw this in the theater. So I lived in.
Oh, you saw it in the theater. Wow.
I lived in Chicago at the time, and I could get on. So I worked weird hours too. Like I would go into work at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and be done by noon.
What were you doing? You were doing radio stuff in Chicago, right?
No, this was when I was working in a.
If you don't mind saying.
Yeah, I was working. It was like a cash office. I was in charge of. I was working at a bigger company in a cash office. Yeah, so it was because I would come in before we opened. I would do the morning shift on that. I would get the money in order to take to the bank, and then they take it to the bank.
Wow. Cool.
For like a lot of times from the night before, and I would make sure like it was kind of like a security thing too.
So you've handled more cash than most people probably have.
Yeah. It was like Chicago cash.
Did it feel good?
Yeah, I had to keep a lookout for like fake bills and stuff too.
Yeah, that's cool,
I like that stuff. Yeah,
sweet. I like that.
So, and every once in a while, I'd have to help like the loss prevention guy like kind of investigate too. People would, yeah.
Hell yeah, Tim.
So I liked that job, but it was tough. And it was tough. Those hours were tough, especially with my lifestyle at the time, because one of the things I would do is like my roommates they worked pretty normal hours. One of my roommates being Joe.
Cool. Yeah, I forgot Joe lived with you. Yeah. In Chicago. Yeah.
Yes. So I would come home, and most of the times I'd take a nap, but sometimes I'd be kind of wired, or I just would like actually get decent sleep the night before. So I would hop on the train and go up to Evanston, which is the city north. It's where Northwestern University is.
Were you living in Chicago proper?
Yeah, Chicago proper, Rogers Park.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was living in Chicago proper, but you could hop on the Red Line and go up to Evanston. It was a 10-minute drive. There was a really cool video store up there too that I would go to too. But
that's rad.
There was this is like a dream. If you know me at all, there was a B-dubs right next to a movie theater.
Oh my god.
So I would go there. And during the week, I'd just go there by myself. And I would.
It's amazing.
I would get some lunch either before or after the movie, and then I'd just go watch the movie. And then
dream.
And you know what was nice is like I get on the train, it was the middle of the afternoon too, so I'd be a little buzzed and then head back home.
That's
and then
the dream, dude.
Yes. So I would have seen like there was a bunch of movies around this time that came out that I have like a soft spots for, and some of them are coming back to me, like Shutter Island I saw in the theater.
Yeah.
Like so that's still one of my like favorite like kind of lower tier Scorsese movies. Sure. But Splice, do you remember Splice?
Oh yeah.
I saw that in the theater by myself. I saw this in the theater by myself. I saw Piranha. I think Predators was remember the Adrian Brody Predators movie?
Yeah, the Rodriguez one. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw Scott Pilgrim like 4 times by myself.
Wow.
So I have like
that's cool.
Yeah. So I have like a weird like connection with this movie and a lot of movies around this time because it felt like. It felt like one of like it felt like kind of like a me movie, like it was kind of like mine. You know what I mean? Like
for sure, yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, and that makes sense. Yeah, both in terms of the movie and like the time period for you, because like that's when you had those. I don't know about you, but like I always break my life up into like these weird sections. Of, like this was the era that I was doing this, and this is that's like for you, that's like that was like an era of your life. So these movies represent kind of that. That's cool.
And so when I see these movies, like, and when you pick this movie, I got like excited, but I was also a little bit afraid. And then like, I won't get into it too much. I think a strength of mine is like not giving a shit about my job that much when I'm done. Like when I'm done with work during the day.
I see. Yeah. You can tune it out. Yeah.
I am done. Yeah. But it's been tougher this week, and when I was able to sit down and watch this movie, I was so happy you picked it because like I was able to kind of lose myself in this movie and like kind of fall in love with it all over again.
I'm glad.
So this is and I want to can you think of any of like I mentioned my movies or like do you have any movies where you're like, oh, that's a me movie, like that's like a movie that maybe
that just belonged to me,
or like maybe like I will champion this movie even though I know like not everybody's gonna love it or anything like that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'd really have to think about that.
Okay.
I can think
I
of
put you
movies
on the
that.
spot there.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I can think of movies that like I mean, obviously, other people had discovered some of these movies
for sure.
before, but like I can think of movies that I discovered kind of on my own without assistance from anybody else, and like so they feel kind of close to my heart because they were like kind of mine, and I kind of spread them out amongst my friends in my circle and stuff. So there's some of those, but man, I'd have to think about something that I kind of champion. I'd have to think about that. Yeah.
Okay.
The one that comes to mind for some reason is the Lundgren Punisher. I've always been a defender of that.
Dolph Lundgren Punisher.
It's that movie's weirdly special to me.
Yeah, that's a
like
good example.
it's a weird one. I rented it on VHS when it came out. I remember like it was at my local video store that I've talked about many times on this podcast. I was at that right age. I didn't even really know the Punisher comic books all that much. I think I saw him on the animated series for Spider-Man at one point. So I knew the character, but not really. And I remember like that was like and that and Master of the Universe were the two that like as a kid I was like, these movies are sweet. What are you talking about? Stop. Right. So yeah, those two. I don't know, both Lundgren movies.
No, that's okay. Yeah, no, the Punisher's a good one. I
really like that movie. I have a Blu-ray. You can only. It's totally random. It's not a horror movie, so I wish we could cover it at some point. But I have a Blu-ray of it that I got from it's a different region completely. I think it's Germany.
Okay.
Because it's got like a ton of like deleted scenes and like a commentary on it, like an English comment. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Because I like that movie.
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
So yeah, I'll go with that one.
Okay, nice one. Yeah,
I will not champion the Captain America movie though. With what's his nuts? With
I believe you and I have been a long time ago. We got drunk and watched that together one time.
We did, and it was pretty funny actually.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I have a lot of fun.
What was that song? They play a song in that movie.
It's like the
Memories of You, girl.
Yeah, and do you remember my favorite? And one of the favorite scenes of that from that movie is when he pulls the fake out, the car steal.
He does it like 3 times. It's awesome. He's like a serial car thief. It's so sweet.
He pulls the you better pull over move, and then like the person pulls over to check and checks out. He's
it's
like,
so
peace
rad.
out.
It's so rad. Anyway, okay, sorry. Maybe that movie is good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Daybreakers. Yeah. So all right.
So
it's special. It was a special movie for you for a special time in your life.
Right.
All right. So even if it doesn't take you back exactly to that mindset, it kind of gives you the warm and fuzzies because you're like, yeah, and I remember seeing that. Like,
yeah.
Those are nice. Like that's good nostalgia.
Right.
That's positive, healthy nostalgia.
Yeah, and I can still be critical of this movie and those movies. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so I think it's safe to say that like you enjoyed this right out of the gate, and for me, I was kind of like, it's fine. Like I don't know. When we first saw it, yeah, this time around, like I'll just get in my overall thoughts here. Like Daybreakers kind of rules. I wonder if some of my not criticisms, but some of my like kind of lack of enthusiasm for it overall stemmed from a combination of me never being. I'm not a big vampire movie guy.
Right.
Just not. I don't find vampires all that. I'm much more into like werewolves, but there's just not that many good werewolf movies. So
right.
I'm much more into zombies. There's plenty of those. Vampires are kind of low on my list in terms of like spooky monster things, right? And even movies like 30 Days a Night, like when it came out and I watched it, I was like, this is a very good vampire movie, but like I'm just not that. I'm not that into vampires.
We were getting a lot around this time too.
It was a resurgence of the vampire movie, and
I think we talked a little bit about that during the True Blood episode too,
yes.
like what we were all getting around that time. Yeah,
absolutely. And I like the few that I really like from the 80s, the Fright Night, Near Dark, Lost Boys. Those were very different approaches, I felt like, to the traditional vampire thing. And this is a very different approach, too. So the other reason I think I might not have appreciated it as much is just because, like, dude, I'd rent, like, 10 movies for free before they hit the shelves, and I'd, like, try and bust through all of them.
Right.
So a lot of them got lost in the shuffle undeservedly, I feel like. There might have been a better movie that came out on DVD this week. They got, like, in my opinion, where like this one just kind of like went under the radar. But this time around, dude, I thought it was sweet as hell. Like the universe is awesome. It's a very slick movie. It's a good looking movie. They establish the vampire rules in an effective way. I mean, you've got Ethan Hawke, who I like Ethan Hawke. I really do.
Do you want to? Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about Ethan Hawke here? Because
sure.
I was thinking for this movie that we just kind of free ball it.
Yeah, I agree too. Yeah. No, I like Ethan Hawke. He's one of those guys.
Where do you stand? Yeah.
I always thought he was kind of wooden for a long time. Like I think he was kind of a boring actor.
Right.
In a lot of movies, even like this. I feel bad, but the first time I saw Before Sunrise.
Yeah, the
first one.
The trilogy, right?
That's the first one, right? Oh, I saw the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is like I don't understand the hype. Like this guy's kind of boring. Like why do people like Ethan Hawke? I knew he was a child actor before that, yada yada. But as I got older and as he, I think got better.
Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and then Before Midnight.
Before Sunrise is the one.
Yep.
Yes. But as he got better, and I think at least in my eyes, I've really grown an appreciation for him. Like I think he's a really, really cool actor. And what I like about him is he takes really, really interesting projects.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Ethan Hawke legitimately could be like, if he had decided to take a different trajectory, he could have been like an A-list. Like he could have been doing like Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah,
he could have been. Or
he's a good-looking guy.
He could have had a big
especially when he was
franchise
younger.
thing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
not that he's a bad-looking
No,
guy,
I know
but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
a handsome dude. He could have been like the leading man in a lot of these like big tentpole things.
Yes,
I think he could have.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he wanted to do that.
I'm with you because when I was younger, I remember Ethan Hawke. Like I remember him being kind of a punchline at times too,
Yes.
because he wasn't as made fun of for his acting as say Keanu, because I remember Keanu for a long time being a punchline as well. But there was a similarity to them where they were kind of poked fun at because they were both they're pretty boy actors.
Sure,
both of them were good-looking guys. They were younger. They were.
They tended to play characters, both of them too, that were kind of lackadaisical, kind of like not stoners all the
time. Slackers. Yeah. So he's made fun of it, and then I always kind of liked him, and then I'm with you. As he's gotten older, I think he's had a pretty interesting career.
Really interesting, yeah. But he's not afraid of doing studio stuff on occasion either.
Right.
He did that Marvel show. Did Moon Knight.
And he's dipped his toe into horror movies quite a bit. He works with Derrickson a couple times.
A bunch, yes.
Sinister and The Black Phone. I think he's very good in The Black Phone too. I'm not a Sinister.
He's good in Sinister though.
He is good.
Like he's very good. I'm not a huge fan of the movie, but Black Phone I liked better. I still don't love The Black Phone, but he's phenomenal in it.
Yes.
He's just very good.
The Purge. He was in The Purge.
Yep.
Yep. The first one, not the first Purge, but the Purge.
The first film in that series.
But yeah, you're right. He was a Moon Knight. He was a Moon Knight recently.
Yeah, he played the villain in that one.
He's in one of my favorite kind of lower night. Gattaca. He's in Gattaca.
You like Gattaca?
I love Gattaca.
Nikki, my wife.
Gattaca on the 13th floor with Bierko came out the same around, and I love them both. Anyway, sorry.
Nikki loves Gattaca.
Does she love Gattaca?
Yes. It's an ongoing joke throughout like the course of the entirety of our relationship. Like, hey, you want to watch Gattaca tonight?
She should say hell yes.
Well, no, she'd be the one asking me.
Oh, okay. She says that.
she likes Gattaca. Yeah. But I like Ethan Hawke quite a bit. Boyhood, another good one.
I love that trilogy.
Yes, the Before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's worked with Linklater a lot too. I should mention
yes.
that. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I think once again, like he's very good in this, right? So Ethan Hawke is very good at. He's not the most animated or interesting character in this ensemble necessarily. That award goes to Mr. Dafoe.
We'll talk about him later.
But we will, yes. But he plays this role with such an earnestness, and such a humanity to it, that yes, we're in a fantasy world, right? Yes, we're in this kind of dystopian future. That's far removed from what we're living in right now.
You can see this movie wasn't ahead of its time because a lot of this stuff was going around at the time, but a lot of this stuff has just become our world today. What this stuff is commenting on. Yes.
Certainly some metaphors here and there. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
But
I made some notes.
But you know what I'm saying, though. Yeah. So it's we're living in a fantasy world in this movie in terms of what's happening, and he's able to give the film through his performance a very grounded. It makes you it makes you recognize the world as it is in the film as real. I think, and it's an important. I think I don't think any actor could have pulled it off. I think he does a very good job, and I love his. I really like his relationship with his brother in the movie quite a bit. I like the way that they play off each other. I'm not super familiar with the actor that plays his brother.
No,
I've seen him in some things before, but they do a really good job playing off each other, and I really like that relationship throughout the course of the film.
His brother's character is interesting, and it plays into a little bit of the social commentary too, because he's he's kind of like a military guy trying to move up in the world using his. And it reminds me, I actually think this movie does a lot of similar things, but a little bit better than something like Land of the Dead. And
I was just going to say.
I like Land of the Dead. The Leguizamo character is who I'm thinking of. It's very similar in that way.
Land of the Dead's trying to be more of a cartoon, fun comic booky thing, though.
Yeah. I think this movie succeeds a little bit where that one misses for me.
I agree.
And I like
in terms
Land
of commentary.
Yes. I like Land of the Dead. But
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Ethan Hawke, he's great in this. Yeah. I think he's pretty much great in all the stuff he does. So.
Yeah. All right. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to I've got some notes here. Do you want me to just
Yeah.
Or do you have anything else to say? What do you? What else
I just want to make sure we talk about the big three at some point. Or we
the big three. All right, let's move on to
actors.
the next one. Who you want to talk about? Defoe or Sam Neill next?
Let's talk about Sam Neill.
Okay.
All right. So Sam Neill, right?
I'm a fan. I'm a Sam Neill fan.
He's fantastic. If you do not follow Sam Neill on social media, you should.
Let me tell you what I like about Sam Neill.
Yes.
Part of the thing with Sam Neill, part of the reason I think I have always liked him is I don't see him all the time. He's
wonderful.
He's not in movies all the time. He's not, and I could tell Sam is not the hardest worker in the world. Sam likes his downtime.
Sure.
Too. Yeah, he likes to sit around on his I believe his winery, right? Or his what do they call that?
His vineyard.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
He's got goats. He's got horses. He's got donkeys. He's awesome. He just hangs out with his animals.
He's
Sweet.
yeah, you know what? You throw enough money at me, I could do a little work on this vineyard if you want me to be in another Jurassic Park and fight the locusts or whatever.
He'll do it.
He'll do it. He'll do. You gotta ask though, because Sam is not chomping at the bit to
Sam rules.
Yes, I love Sam Neill.
And
one of my honestly, I think back, I have a list of his horror performances for Fangoria. I will rattle off, but I'm going through this list and I'm man, I love Sam Neill.
So before I want to do that next. So I just want to say about Sam Neill real quick before we move on, in not regards to this particular performance, just in general. Sam Neill for me, because of, and I'm sure I know I'm not alone in this, and he's probably been told this multiple times, but Sam Neill for me, when I think of heroes of my childhood cinematically, Sam Neill is right near the top of the list.
Yeah.
I know a lot of kids a little older than me, and even at my age, when they think of adventure, like heroes in adventure movies, they think of Indiana Jones. I think of Alan Grant. That's my dude. Mm-hmm. That's my dude. That his character in that movie inspired my first passion of what I want to be when I grew up. I wanted to be. I always would say I want to be a paleontologist, but I want to be Alan Grant. That was who I want to be that guy. So, he's got a very special place in my heart. Sam Neill does, and then of course, watching his films throughout the years as I matured and kind of broadened my horizons in terms of what I was willing to watch and what I was able to watch, and being exposed to more of his performances from other films, even especially in the genre, which I want you to talk about, just made me like him even more. And then I followed him on Instagram, and so now I'm smitten. I would go to the vineyard.
Smitten is a good word.
I'm smitten. I would go to the vineyard to hang out with Sam.
Yeah.
I feel like I would not, because I'd bother him.
Yeah.
I would love to be there. Yes. Anyway, so what do we got?
All right, so because I was going through this because I was trying to refresh my memory on some of Sam Neill's genre horror performances. And then I was reading this list. I'm like, God dang, he's had a really good career in horror.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start at the beginning. Well, The Omen 3, The Final Conflict.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah,
Damien.
he plays
Nice.
Damien, the older Damien, the adult Damien.
You like that one a bit, right?
I feel yes, it's been a while. I should break out that old box set every once in a while. But I remember him playing kind of a really good adult kind of shady Damien. Well, as shady as Damien could be. He's a politician at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next one, Possession, 1981. So this is a movie that is, if you haven't seen it, I always suggest watch this movie once.
So I've never seen.
You've never seen this?
No, and I've heard.
So here's what I'm gonna. I feel like.
Yeah.
I still say like maybe someday we should watch it, but it is a movie you have to be in the right mood for, and I almost think it's a movie. I watched in my 20s, and like there's part of me that goes because I have not watched it since, and
Okay.
I remember being blown away by a lot of it, but then I like as I like sit down and I think about like I don't think I'm ever gonna watch it again in my life unless we cover it on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a movie I'm gonna revisit, but man, like it is. I think it's a movie. If you're a horror fan, I do think. Yeah, maybe
Interesting.
Especially if you're at the right, it is at the right time in your life. Yeah, when you're looking to really push the boundaries of it. Yeah.
All right.
Dead Calm. This is the Australian movie. With Nicole Kidman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Billy Zane, I believe, is in this one
Good
too.
movie.
They have Jurassic Park in here. That's close enough. In the Mouth of Madness.
Dude, he's awesome.
He is awesome.
That's one of those like gems that I discovered later on, and it was like, wow, okay.
That's
cool.
that. It's not the last. Is that the last great Carpenter? I think it's the last great Carpenter movie, right?
It is. If you don't, no, it is. It is.
It's not the last one I like.
I don't count.
Like I like
Escape
from
Burns. Yeah, I like Escape from LA as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not great.
I don't think it's a great one though.
No, but In the Mouth is great.
I would
yes.
call In the Mouth of Madness great.
Yeah, I would agree. Yep.
Snow White: A Tale of Terror.
Seen it. My mom recorded this off of on the VHS off of cable because she was like, "I want to see this thing. This looks sweet."
Yeah,
it's pretty rad. Sigourney plays the
right.
evil queen, and it's actually pretty good. It's kind of gnarly. So
yeah, and then the last one I wanted to mention here is I think one of our favorites, Event Horizon, of course.
Love it.
I do
He's
love it.
Terrifying.
He's
in that movie.
terrifying in that movie.
Freaks me out. Yeah, Sam is great, man.
He's great. I think he's great in Daybreakers as well. He's very good at playing this role because he gets to
smarmy,
and he gets to do a little wine action. He
does.
Yeah, he's.
I wonder if he brought some on set from the Vineyard.
Yeah, he knows his way around a wine glass, whatever that means.
Sure,
but
sure.
But he is, like you mentioned, he's very good at playing that smarmy, like douchebag role.
But then he plays Alan Grant.
Yeah,
who's like the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
He's really he's kind of douchey a little bit to kids, but he's it's a very different man. He's just
it's a playful douchiness.
Yes,
yeah,
he's so good. He's so great. And he's fun in this. So like his character in this, I enjoy quite a bit because he's so. He walks the fine line in terms of the writing of this character and the performance between. You can have your mustache twirling villains, which are just like, like villain for the sake of being a villain, or you can have your pathos villain, right? Who's got some sort of like humanity and dark backstory behind them, how they become the way they are. It's very hard to find one that kind of works as both, where like you understand what happened to this person. And you get the history behind them, so you understand the trajectory of their villainy, but also they're just kind of a bad person to begin with anyway. And this is that character. Mm-hmm. He doesn't learn anything.
He's that cold, calculating businessman too. Yeah,
exactly. It was probably kind of the same guy he was when he was human. Mm-hmm. But it just elevated his level of narcissism and self-importance,
right?
To the point where the stuff with his daughter is really sad.
Yeah.
He kills his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And what does he do? He forces her to do something against her will, forces her to undergo this change into vampirism, despite the fact that she's pleading with him, like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And he can't even do it himself. He has to send his crony to do it.
That's right. Yeah.
There's some stuff going on there too. I feel like I don't know. I don't want to trying to not get overly current or political with things, but there's definitely a body autonomy thing going on with that plot line, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You've got the older male saying, no, this is what's good for you. You need to do this. You don't.
Oh no, I agree. Yeah.
And so, I like all that stuff. It's very sad, but I like all that stuff, and I actually like the way it affects some of the other characters later on the road. Ethan Hawke's brother's character as well. Like I like that he has to live with the guilt of what he did, and he that's important, I think. So yeah, Sam Neill rules, man, and he's good in this movie.
And then the last head of the three-headed,
the Hydra, if you will.
The Hydra, yes. Willem, the never not good,
bro. Has Willem Dafoe ever been bad? Ever?
So this weekend,
he's good in Speed 2.
he's like naked putting the leeches on.
It's sweet. He's like jacked too in that movie.
Dafoe is still one of my favorite comic book performances, villain performances of all time in that first Spider-Man too.
Dude, he brings it again in that new one.
Yes,
he's like right back at it.
He can't be bad, and he can't be bad in this movie. And Dafoe rolls up in this movie. I should mention too here, because this exemplifies Dafoe to me. So I watched Nosferatu this past weekend.
Yes, you did. That's right.
The first hour or so, and I do want to say this. I think this is a win for the theatrical experience, I believe, even though I didn't see it in the theater. But like, I'm sitting at home, and my setup is not exactly the most immersive thing in the world. Like, I'm sitting at home in my basement. It's Saturday night, so I've got to get my laundry done. I've got my kid up on, like, I'm kind of got the monitor on in the background, the baby monitor I'm watching.
Yeah, right.
I've got one eye on the baby monitor just in case he's like starts standing up. 'Cause he'll do that sometimes. Not all of it, but so like in the theater, like I probably would have been like immersed in this world, like this big gothic world that Eggers is creating, because I do think
you're surrounded by darkness. There's nothing but the movie. Yeah.
So for the first hour or so, like, it's kind of just like happening. The movie's just kind of happening in front of me, and I'm not like super into it, but I'm not like, this is not bad. Like, this is good stuff. And then all of a sudden, I think it's about an hour in, Dafoe shows up, and like, I like lock it. I'm like, let's go. And he is insane in that movie. He is so good. And like, he kind of like locked me in. I ended up really, really liking the movie. I liked it a lot, and because the second half for me delivers. But like, part of it I do think is like, as soon as I see, he's just such a presence. As soon as I see him, I'm like, oh my God.
Yep. You know what's funny about all three of these guys, now that we're talking about this, right, is you look at Hawke, you look at Sam Neill, you look at Dafoe. And they're all kind of similar in this weird way, in the sense that, like, we mentioned this with Ethan Hawke, but in particular, and a little bit with Sam Neill, they're guys that they're more interested in taking interesting roles to them than they are about doing what's expected of them. So like, all three of these guys have taken super, like, very, very low budget indie things. They've all done genre work, but they've all done like big franchisey stuff too. It's pretty cool. Like, they're very similar in terms of what they're.
And what I love about them, and I think Defoe's a good example of it too, is like, he doesn't thumb his nose at. He doesn't look down on it. He takes it seriously.
Yeah.
Like he puts effort into it. And I think I would say Hawke is the same way too. Like, he's not like, they're not like they don't feel like they're above it. And Dafoe is above it, like, in a lot of ways.
He is. I mean, like, what's funny, I mean, like, maybe Dafoe like would talk about. I don't even know if he'd talk poorly about it afterwards. Even he might just be like, "Oh yeah, I got a good paycheck for that." Like, but like that's.
But
fine.
I don't even think he would like.
He might even say that. Though.
No, it wouldn't even like. It wouldn't be.
He's like, fun character.
Yeah, fun character, interesting time. Yeah.
Got to shoot a crossbow. Like, that would be his.
He shows up in this movie.
He does.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite Dafoe performance? Mine is Last Temptation of Christ, the Scorsese movie. But there are like a lot.
Oh man.
There's like, I'm not a huge Boondock Saints guy, honestly, but
he's very good in it.
He's very good.
I'm not a big Boondock guy.
I just popped in my head. Streets of Fire is one of my favorite movies, and he's in it too.
Life Aquatic.
Oh my God, yes,
unbelievable in. Like, he's so good in that movie.
A comedic performance too. Very funny guy. Yeah.
Very funny. Platoon.
Thank you.
He's like on fire in that movie. My goodness. I can't pick a favorite. And like those two, for whatever reason, popped in my head right away.
Yeah.
And then Norman Osborn is another one, of course. It's hard for me to. That's not his best performance, but it's hard for me not to think of him and think of that, because it was so formative. That first Spider-Man was so,
Well, it was like a cool cast at the time, too. So anyway, back to Daybreakers.
Yes.
He shows up, and he's in a sweatsuit.
Yeah.
And
looking great.
Then you see him. He's got a goatee.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then on top of it, he's got this accent, this like kind of Southern accent. I think that's what he's going for. It doesn't matter. And then he starts singing Elvis.
Hell yeah, his name is Elvis.
His name is Elvis. And he starts. I think he. sings "Feel My Temperature Rise."
Because his character was ignited on fire.
Yeah.
At some point, man.
It's kind of but it is what I love about this movie because there is some social commentary, but it doesn't, and it is kind of grim. But like when he shows up, it doesn't take itself too seriously either, and there is some decent action in it as well.
Yeah. He's it's weird because like he offers a lot of levity to the proceedings, which I think at the point you get to introduce, like they introduce him, I think the movie needs it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn dark up until this point. So it's nice. It's a bit of a relief to see him and get to know his character, but also like he's such an important part of the actual plot itself, right? So he's kind of the patient zero for this cure that they're hoping to. Which, but I love the simplicity of this cure thing. Like, it makes no sense to me. I'm cool with it. It's obviously vampire science, and
It's also,
but I like it.
This is it's also very obviously inspired by Deacon Frost. This movie,
of course,
yes.
It
is kind of like what Deacon Frost was going for, though.
Yeah, right? The great Deacon.
Yeah.
Man, what a performance by Dorf. But yeah, like Dafoe's character is. He serves a lot of functions in the movie, and if you're going to cast an actor in a role that really I think is such a is like the linchpin I think of the film, Dafoe is kind of like you're going to be okay. Like you're in safe hands. Yeah, he's just so much fun. Certainly not like the best performance ever in the history of Dafoe's, but like. I can't name it the best because they're all so wonderful. So, and he gets to kick some ass too. I know I'm sure he had fun doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he doesn't get to kick ass in the movies too often. No. So I think he's like I like to shoot crossbows. Yeah, like let's go. Why not?
He has a couple of really great lines. I thought I wrote them down, but no.
Yeah, he's got some good ones. He's got some good ones for sure.
Sorry, this isn't even a great line, but the way he delivered it, he goes, I wrote this one down. Daytime driving, man. Nothing beats.
Yes.
Good, that's all I needed.
Yes.
That's all I needed to say.
It's wonderful.
All right, so what else do you want to talk about? That pops in your head, because I got a couple things here.
I'm not big on romantic vampires. It kind of bores me.
Romantic so you don't like romantic? Do you like sexy vampires?
Yeah, you can be like, yes, that's fine. Like Lost Boys is sexy vampires, right?
Right.
But the vampire stuff, like the actual like. There's a certain element of like an Anne Rice, right? Where like there's a seduction thing and there's like a glamoring thing and this like whole like it's almost like Tom Cruise bites a woman in Interview with the Vampire and she's having an orgasm as she's being murdered. Like there's that certain element of vampirism in movies and in fiction that I'm like eh. Like I like when I like vampires, I like them at the end of the day. Like I want them to be like nasty.
Yeah.
When they kill somebody, like I like that. Like get nasty with it. And this one has some good nasty vampires.
Once again, I pause to take the opportunity. The new Interview with a Vampire, the AMC show, is a nice combination of those things.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'm cool with that. Yeah. I just like I feel like if you romanticize the vampire thing too much, then why are we watching a vampire movie? Just make it a sex scene between two people. Like there's no, do you know what I'm saying? Like there's no danger in a lot of those. And I miss that danger element. I like when vampires almost go feral.
Yeah.
And you see that in movies like The Lost Boys. You see that in movies like even Jerry Dandridge in Fright Night. Mm-hmm. Like when he's mad, he goes like full on. I like that. Like I need that element. Like he's a romantic and he's like still like trying to seduce. The girlfriend in the movie, but like at the end of the day, he's like a monster. I like
Darcy from Married with Children.
Darcy. Yes, thank you. I was mentally searching for it, but anyway. So like, what I like about this is there's a couple of gnarly scenes of like when Sam Neill gets killed.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
There's some pretty sick gore and effects in this.
Holy
Some of them are
smokes.
CG, but I don't think it's bad CG.
Yeah, like the vampires igniting are all CG, and that's fine. I mean, that's
So I do want to say,
I've seen bad versions of that.
fire has never looked good on TV unless it's like an actual fire stunt. Like in movies, CG fire always looks awful to me.
CG
for whatever
fire and
reason,
CG blood generally don't look right.
yeah, for whatever reason, fire that like my brain automatically recognizes when it's fake fire.
loses the
It's something you
danger,
can't
yeah.
fake for me.
Yeah, I get that.
Anyway, sorry. Yes.
No, but
there,
no, yeah,
there are a
Sam-
couple of like full
Sam
bloody
Neill's death is insane. He gets like an arm ripped off, and they're like chewing on the arm. It's awesome. And then
is it the Subsiders that get him at the
no, it's just the it's the SWAT team that.
Oh, yeah.
But they're hungry. They're like
yes.
they've been starved. I like there's some commentary there.
There is
too,
some commentary
and I like
there, yeah.
that.
There's some commentary with the Subsiders. I've got about a shoot. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And then Ethan Hawke's brother, when he gets killed, dude,
Yes.
it's like he gets like mobbed.
Oh, there's
like,
a full body explosion 15 minutes into this movie.
it's
too.
insane. It's awesome.
Yeah, this
anyway,
movie
so
rocks.
I wanted to comment on that too. Like the effects are great, and there's some really, really solid gore and stuff like that.
And like the first 5 to 10 minutes of this movie are really cool because it's kind of dialogueless. You get thrust into this world where this vampire pandemic has already kind of taken hold.
Sure.
And you're only told through the actions of the people on screen. There's the Spierig Brothers. I'm interested, like I said, I'm curious to see what happened here because as I go through their filmography, like there's that shot where they're in the subway, all the vampires are in the subway, and then it goes black for a second, like the lights flicker, and the red eyes, like you see they're like they're going.
Yeah.
Like that is so fucking cool.
It's cool stuff. Yeah, like visually, it's striking stuff.
And like you said, they're not working with a huge budget here. They're German-born Australian filmmakers, is what they are, which may have been how they got hooked up with Sam Neill, fellow Aussie,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But so they would do so an Undead, then this one, then they did a movie that we covered and that I actually kind of dug, Predestination.
Yes, which I did not like.
Was that Ethan Hawke as well?
Yes, but
Yeah.
I want to revisit that too.
I remember thinking it was cool. I like this one a lot better.
Yeah.
We did that on the other one, and then they did Jigsaw, which was the Saw sequel.
Oh my god,
that was them.
I like that movie.
I like that one too. And then they did a movie called Winchester with Helen Mirren, which is about the Winchester House in San Jose, I think. The one.
Yes, I've not
And
seen that.
That one did really poorly and was very poorly received, and they have done nothing since. They're doing a sequel to the movie. Did you ever see the movie Fall, or do you know of it? Where they're like the two women are stuck high atop a big like tower.
No.
I watched it. It's okay, but they're doing a sequel to it. So they've just kind of fallen off, and it's weird because I don't know. I think they have a ton of talent, and I think it's pretty evident here. And I don't know. Maybe as they've gotten further away from their own stuff and they started doing other stuff, it started to.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you seen Winchester or no?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I have not, but part of it was because it did not get good reviews at all, and it just
Okay.
it kind of bombed.
I would watch Predestination again. I remember I know where I watched that movie because I remember like that was one of the few movies where I went, "What did I just watch?" But I would actually like to revisit that one.
I remember thinking it didn't fully hit the target for what it was going for. Like it was kind of confusing. Even the messaging, it was kind of confused. Like it did. But I remember thinking like, man, like it's a nice try.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, the Spierig Brothers. I wanted to mention a couple things here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's some of it is. I do want to talk about the social commentary a little bit.
Yeah.
Because some of it is very much of the time period it was in as well.
Yeah. I want to say real quick,
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I'm not trying to shy away from things, but also I want to make sure that we hear enough of this stuff. So I didn't want to like.
I also don't want to start shoehorning. I think we do I don't want to start shoehorning in stuff.
Yeah.
That is happening today.
Correct.
But I do think this movie is commenting on a lot of stuff
that's relevant.
and that was relevant in the late 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's still relevant.
Yes.
And I think one of them is too just it doesn't but like just kind of the overbearing, like the constant it tells the story through cable news reports at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's different now. I mean, cable news isn't quite as big as it was then as terms of numbers, but it's kind of morphed into something else. But around that time, that was the onset. We're really deep into that 24/7 cable news cycle when CNN, Fox News, MSNBC
Yep.
were all kind of dominating the news around that time. I mentioned it as the other thing too is this movie is all about resources drying up and humanity, and in this case vampires, what they are going to do as they realize that you can't continue to live this way forever.
I want to comment briefly on that. So what I might be getting too on the nose here. I'm going to try not to.
No, go for it.
What I find interesting about that aspect of it is I love this idea that, like, the vampires are the haves, right?
Yes.
At this juncture. And I love that there's an element of them looking upon the have-nots as kind of this cattle, right? But then they just keep milking them and milking them and milking them and milking them and milking them, and then they go, uh-oh, we screwed up, and they have no solution for it.
Yes.
None. Zero. And the solution is lying within the have-nots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love there's something to enjoy there about that element of, like, yeah, well, you bled them dry, literally. So what do you goofed. You're on your own.
It's a pretty, and some of it's on the nose, but it's a stand-in for oil, too.
Sure. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, for sure. For resources in general.
General. When I think of this, and especially in the 2000s, it's kind of like, it's the old drill baby drill thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, well, what do you do when that dries up? And we know it's going to, but like, we're looking at it, and then there are some people that just like, fuck it. I mean, do it anyway. And then there are some people like, well, we have to find an alternative to this.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
And you know what? I think Ethan Hawke is probably a pretty good stand-in for the character he's playing. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I do think there's a class aspect to this too.
Yes. Yeah. For sure.
We talked about
I mentioned haves and have-nots.
Haves and has. The subsiders are interesting as well too, because they're the poor.
Yes, they are. But there's another element to that too, right? So they are the poor. Yes.
Yeah.
But they are also. It's almost like the humans are the middle class. The few humans left are the middle class. The subsiders are the poor, and then the vampires are like the elites, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's another element because the subsiders in this were presumably elites.
Right.
That you see this happen in the movie a little bit. You've got so all the vampires are considered like the like upper class, but even within the upper class, there's like the Sam Neill level of upper class.
Yeah.
And they're willing to let their own friends burn.
Yes.
If it means they get to stay there. Like there's a certain they're willing to let them turn into like little like feral monsters that live in the sewers if it means that they get to stay on top.
Yep.
There's some there's some stabbing of backs going on that I find very entertaining.
The other thing too is like you do see it. Some of the movie. So the movie, as it goes on, I think it starts to. I don't think it starts to lose the social commentary, but I do think it veers away from it a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And it starts to get more action oriented. But it also kind of works for me, and it makes sense because essentially their economy is going to fall apart. Like their society at this point is going to, and so like the movie kind of feels like it's falling apart in some ways, and it's kind of devolving into chaos in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, I think it's very similar to if you talk about social commentary in genre work, you have to talk about George, right?
Yes.
If you look at Dawn or Day, or Night for that matter, there's plenty of social commentary in the first two acts of those movies. All three of those movies. But the third act of all those movies is kind of like action and madness and chaos, right? Like
yeah.
Night, Dawn, Day, it's the same in all of them. So this kind of follows that pattern in a lot of ways. Like, okay, he's told you what he wants to tell you. Or in this case, they've told you what they want to tell you. Now you get to watch the aftermath of insanity that results from,
And that to me is like, that to me is great. Like that, that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to be, because if you keep doing that into the third act, like I kind of want to see I don't mind seeing a little bit.
You want a bit of a payoff.
I don't mind seeing a chase scene thrown in here every once in a while. Like it's okay if you want to throw in a Chrysler chase scene. Oh, you know what? I like the technology of this movie. It's kind of sick. Yeah,
there's some fun product placement in this one.
There is, yeah. But yeah, the Chrysler car.
It's all good.
So
gotta get this movie made.
So I'm with you. Like Dawn is. Dawn kind of devolves into silliness in some ways in like the final, like
it does.
Yeah, and that's totally okay with me
because I'm good. I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying.
Let's have some. Let's get nuts. Like let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. I don't need you to keep drilling it into my head. Yeah.
Give me that release of endorphins that I need.
Yes.
This movie I think owes a lot, and a lot of movies from this time period owe a lot visually to The Matrix.
Yes.
And I think The Matrix is a perfect example of what we're talking about too. Outside of the horror genre, those first couple acts of The Matrix are very, very heavy on social commentary, and that third act is kind of crazy and zany and action and fun. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's actually a very, very good template for if you're gonna try and send home a message within a genre film, but make it fun at the same time. Not a bad template to follow.
That's kind of how you hook people. That's how you hook people who may not normally be hooked on your movie. Absolutely, I agree with you.
Yep.
I guess the last thing I wanted to mention, as far as I do think it's interesting how like I mentioned the resources are drying up, but like there is a section that's just like we don't want to change, like we just want to keep doing what we're doing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's another crazy thing too, right? Is like, and another piece of that commentary is that like when it gets to the point where there's a cure in their faces, this could solve the problem.
Yep.
They don't want that.
Nope.
Because they lose their power, essentially. It's crazy. They would rather watch the entirety of the world burn, even if they become the king of the ashes, than give up being the king.
Yes. So this movie's kind of sick. Like
it's awesome,
and it is. It
rules.
Is kind of. I think it's Romero-esque in a lot of ways.
It's.
And not in like a cheap ripoff way.
No,
in
kind of a It's more Romero than Carpenter, but there's similarities to Carpenter too. I think.
Yep.
It's more Romero though. I feel and it's not trying to be, like you said. It's not ripping it off. I don't think I really thought about the Romero comparisons until we really started talking about it tonight. So I kind of dig that. Like us, this is the fun of the conversation, right? Is
right.
We kind of. Yeah, this movie rules. I don't know. It's sweet as hell. If you
haven't seen it, it's free a lot of places.
I think a lot of people have not seen this movie.
I feel like this is a movie. So I looked at the box office. So it was a $20 million budget, which is higher than I thought. But it made
actors probably with that one.
I was gonna say yeah.
There's some effect stuff too.
It made about 55. So
it's money.
Yeah, it did okay.
It made a bit of a profit.
What's the general rule? Like 2.5. So it was around there. That's not a hard or fast rule though either. It did fine. And if I remember correctly, it was a January release. It always felt like it got dumped to me, and then it kind of picked up an audience later. But
that was back when January was a dump month.
Yeah, I'm with you though. It feels like it's kind of maybe lost a little bit of, I don't want to say buzz, but it's not talked about a lot, and I don't hear it talked about a lot, at least.
I don't think so. No.
And I think it's a movie that, if you haven't seen it, it is free on Pluto. It's free on Fandango. It's free on Tubi. You can see it anywhere.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place. Yeah. This is a cool movie. I'd check it out.
Well worth a look. Yeah, and I said this to you, and I do not like saying this sentence out loud because like I could use much less TV. Like by TV, I mean TV shows in general. I think there's too much shit out there at this point. I would watch a TV show set in the Daybreakers universe.
Yeah.
This is one of those rare ones where I'm like, I would watch a series based on this.
Yeah.
So yeah, there it is.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah. So we've been spending a lot of time in Daybreakers is old now. It doesn't feel old to us because of our age.
That's what I was.
But it is old.
Like as we're going back to like, oh my god, this is 15 years ago.
Dude, that's
when
insane.
I said I was in my mid-20s. Like a part of me went, ugh, what?
Dude, it's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Aliens was like a year old when I was born.
Yeah.
Like that, like this is 15 years old.
When people start like doing this thing too, like when they start like when I start thinking about 90s movies, people do this all the time. They go like, well, did you know Jurassic Park now is as old as like some movie from like the 1960s?
Stop. I hate it.
Like,
I hate
God,
it.
stop.
I hate it. Anyway, we want to go a little bit older. We want to go back to one. This is one that I've always wanted to watch. I've heard a lot about. I've always been interested in it. It's kind of a psychological thriller / horror / crime film from 1967, starring Audrey Hepburn. Wait Until Dark. Also stars Richard Crenna, who I'm a big fan of, and Alan Arkin, who I'm also a big fan of. This one is one of those rare ones where we're not going to be able to find a free spot for you or a subscription spot for you. I believe this is kind of a rental situation, and that's fine. It's on Amazon Prime and other rental services. I want to go back to the 60s. It's been a while. We've not been in the 60s too often on this show. It's a tricky decade to navigate. Same with the 50s. But, I'm looking forward to this. I've watched an Audrey Hepburn movie since I went to took film classes. So, Wait Until Dark.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. This is a first-time watch for me.
Yeah,
I was just checking
for both of us. Yeah, that does not happen very often.
I was checking one more spot to see
kind of
if
pumped.
I could find it somewhere for people. No, it's just a trailer. They did the thing where I thought it was free, but it was YouTube and it was just a trailer.
For me and Tim, it's rare to have a first-time watch for both.
And I like revisiting 60s stuff because 60s is a cool decade.
It's a cool decade, yes. So
and this movie's almost 60 years old.
Oh my God! All right, Wait Until Dark.
Wait Until Dark. See you next time. Stay scared, everybody.